in here. Today I come to you guys with my May and June wrap up. During these 2 months I ended up reading and finishing 7 books, which is honestly not too much. Nevertheless, I'm going to go through what I read and what I thought about them. So the first book here is Carry On by Rowell. This was actually one of my books that were on the list for books that will self-destruct in 12 months, which I will link down below. But yeah, I ended up picking this one up just for the sake of having it done. I know a lot of people really love this book, and maybe I was not one of them. I mean, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it. It was a quick read. It was some interesting twists and turns and interesting magic and stuff like that, but also, I mean, it's a fan fiction of Harry Potter basically, and it was just, sometimes it kind of felt like she was mocking the franchise in a way, because it was so, like, these spells and stuff were just kind of comedic, to be honest. But the thing I mostly irritated me was the fact that she writes about certain events, certain things that has happened in the characters' life, but you don't get to be a part of those events. It's more of a retelling of what happened previous years, and I just feel like some of these things would have been really interesting to be a part of, but nope, we just want to tell it how it happened, but we're not going to be a part of it. And basically this is Simon Snow. He is a magician, and we have Baz, who is a vampire, or so Simon Snow thinks, and they have to, you know, save the magic in the world basically. And I flew through it. It did not live up to the hype, and I ended up giving this book, I think, 3.5 out of 5 stars. And then we have Premeditated Myrtle by Elizabeth C. Bunce. This is a sort of a middle grade mystery kind of novel, because Myrtle's neighbor ends up dead and she's the only one that thinks it was murder. Everyone else, including the police and the coroner, thinks it was just, you know, natural causes, because she was an elderly woman. And Myrtle basically has to use her street smarts and her ability to solve crime and stuff like that, and figure out who killed the old lady, try to find the evidence to prove the fact that she was murdered and not died of natural causes. And I mean, it was a quick read. I was definitely in a reading slump while reading it, so it took me a long time to read it, but when I finally did sit down to read it, I sped through a lot of the pages. It was fun, it was quirky, definitely a little bit unbelievable in a way, since like everybody, including the cops, basically just took her word for everything. I mean, she did have proof, but still, it was, I don't know. But yeah, I ended up giving this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. We have another middle grade, and that is The Blackbird Girls by Blankman. This is a historical middle grade. So this one takes place during the Chernobyl disaster, and it's basically about 2 girls from very different backgrounds and religions that ends up being friends, because the disaster sort of brings them together, because they have to flee waste that's everywhere. And I mean, it was a really quick book. It was fast-paced. It was really like page-turner. You wanted to know what's going to happen, and the friendship that blossoms between these 2 girls, who from the start kind of hated each other, is very beautiful, and it's well written, and I just really enjoyed it, to be honest. And I ended up giving this, I think, 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then we have a middle grade and a reread and sort of a childhood reliving kind of read, which is why I ended up reading it. But that is Kelvoni, which is the second book in the Madison Finn series by Laura Dower. This is a book that I read when I was like maybe 9 or something like that, and I ended up finding it in my parents' attic, and I just needed to bring this one and all the other books I had in the series home with me, along with some other middle grade, because my TBR wasn't big enough already. But yeah, it was a really quick read. We meet Madison Finn, and basically she's just trying to get through like everyday events and stuff like that with her friends, and she is very good with computers, and she's been chosen to be sort of the boss of the school website for the sort of voting thing that decides who becomes the head of classes and stuff like that. And there's someone trying to sabotage the website. Of course, she gets a lot of crap for that, since she's the one in charge of it. and yeah, she's trying to figure out who it is and why they're doing it. But yeah, really enjoyed it, definitely childhood reliving, and I think I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then we have When He Was Wicked by Julia Quinn. This is the 6th book in the Bridgerton series about the different siblings. In this one we follow Francesca, and she's a very young married woman, and her husband ends up dying very suddenly. And then we meet Michael, who is the cousin of Francesca's dead husband, and he's always fancied Francesca, even when she was married to his cousin, and you know, shit goes awry after the cousin dies. So I really liked Francesca as a character. I really liked Michael because he was like not supposed to be very likable, but he's definitely had a lot of character growth, as well as Francesca, and you know, steamy romance. And yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was a very quick read, and I ended up giving it 4.5 out of 5 stars. And then we have Beatride by Emily Henry. This is also a adult romance novel. This was my first Emily Henry book. I know she's written a couple at this point, but these basically are about 2 authors. They're having sort of writer's block, and they can't really write the books their publishers are expecting of them, and they're on a time crunch, to say the least. So they end up in the same place as neighbors, and they actually challenge each other to write in the other person's sort of genre, and you know, to show them that it's not as easy as you think it is, and also challenge each other by going through different sort of places to get inspired for the books and do research and stuff like that. And it was really cute. Definitely enemies to lovers sort of deal. It was a quick read. I really enjoyed it, and they ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. And now we have Time of Our Lives by Austin Sigmund Broca and Emily Wibberley. This is like, I want to say the 3rd book I read by them. Not sure, 3rd, 4th maybe. But yeah, this one we meet a guy named Fitz, and he's very scared of the future because his mother is sick, and he just want to, you know, stay close to home. He doesn't really want to go to the whole college tour thing because he's going to end up in school close to his mother anyways, but his mother basically forces him to live on this tour. And then we have Juniper, and she cannot wait to get out of the house. She wants to go to college. She wants to have some distance to her family because she feels like they were smothering her, deciding everything she's supposed to do and everything like that. And Fitz and Juniper ends up meeting, and you know, adventure ensues. So I feel like this was sort of a little bit insta-lovey. It was cute. It was a road trip book for the most part, which, you know, I'm not completely sold at ever, but it was still very quick read, and it was enjoyable, and yeah, it was okay. So I ended up giving this book 3.5 out of 5 stars. So yeah, those were all of the 7 books I ended up reading in the month of May and June. I was originally gonna film this together with the month of July as well, but I ended up reading so much in July, I felt like the video would be too long, so, you know, yay for me. But yeah, if you have read any of these books, please let me know down below what you thought about them, without spoiling, of course. And yeah, I hope we see each other in the next one. Bye!